Welcome back to my channel. My name is Jakob and I'm attempting to become the youngest German-speaking person to sail around the world solo. But not taking the easy route, instead going around the legendary Cape Horn. Over the last several years, sailing vessel Wolf was prepared for this voyage. Bonjour and welcome back in France. After the 4 months here since the accident, everything is now back to the old and it is time to move on. I now really have to get going again, but before that, there are still some things to be done on board. Welcome back to a new video. So we are back in the water, or Wolf is back in the water after being hauled in the last video. So the journey is finally continuing and the mission now is to prepare the boat, prepare myself, but mostly the boat for the next passage, which is going non-stop from here in Brest to the Canary Islands, which is about 10 to 12 days at sea or 1,200 nautical miles, and there are still things to be done on Wolf, checks, maintenance, cleaning before I'm able to depart or before I can depart. So yeah, that is probably this video, so let's go. So back below deck because it's very windy and cold outside, and the first task already awaits, the first quick one, which is getting the fore cabin empty here, because there's some humidity, moisture below it, because of the cold temperatures. So you always, in colder areas, you always have to dry out and clean out below the mattresses, etc. every week or so. So let's do that. So let's first throw out everything here on the deck. So there you can actually see the problem here in cold areas. There's everything wet inside here, that's just condensation. I clean out the fore cabin and put a heater in it to dry out the last bits of condensation. Then it is time to move on to the second job, for which I need the dinghy. Wolf's hull needs a good cleaning. I'm preparing to apply some new sponsor stickers. The amazing guys from Yachtzubehoer Nordsee reached out to me and asked if they could support the project. Honored, I can announce them as a new sponsor on this journey. Yachtzubehoer Nordsee is all about great gear for sailors. Whether it's deck equipment, paints or electronics, they got you covered. As passionate sailors themselves, located in northern Germany on the rough North Sea coast, they know what sailors really need. To get free shipping on an order from 200 euros, check them out via the link in the description. So thank you Yachtzubehoer Nordsee for supporting me on this absolutely crazy adventure. So even though it's much warmer actually than most of the time until now here in Camaret, it's still pretty cold. After the sun's gone, the next job is feeding the reefing lines through the sail into the cockpit, because I've removed them when Wolf was on land. Okay, so here's the second reefing line, and that red line here, which comes from the cockpit, goes up the mast through the boom, and here needs to get up there and back down again. So that's the second reef, but the first thing to do. So that one goes up there, through the eye there. The end of the second reefing line gets attached to the boom with a bowline knot. The same thing for the first reefing line further down the sail, with the only difference that I have to get the reefing line through the boom here, because I've taken that one out of some reason, I don't know. but I have to get that through here. I don't know how exactly, but we'll find a way, I guess. The main problem is that I have to feed the first reefing line through the 2-meter long boom. First it gets led back to the cockpit, and then the fun work starts. So I just had to throw everything out of the aft cabin here, because I have something with which that might work actually. So that thing here is meant for laying cables through cable channels, but that might actually also work for the boom. So the plan, which will absolutely not work, is to pull the cable leading thing here through the boom together with the second reefing line. After working until 4 AM and inventing a lot of new swear words, I finally got the reefing line through the boom, so the next morning I can finish preparing the reef. All 3 reefs are now working. With that job done, I decide to take a break and visit Brest, an hour and a half of a bus ride away. Brest is one of the main port cities of France. Being home to around 140,000 people, the main character of the city comes from its deeply rooted maritime importance. Overlooking the city is the American Memorial, which was built by the United States after the First World War to honor the cooperation between Allied and French forces. During World War II, after the surrender of France to the Nazis, Brest was the main U-boat base of the Germans. Because of this, the city was heavily bombed by the US Air Force. Okay, good morning. It is the next day now, and the SNSM, so the Sea Maritime Rescue Services, have some marathon or what it is, I don't know exactly, but they have event there. There's a ladder up there, and I think I've seen on Facebook that they have some kind of event where they swim around the Bay of Camaret. Before departing, I want to check through the rigging. For that I have to climb Wolf's 11-meter high mast. For that I'm using a Prusik knot. So those actually come from mountaineering. I don't know if they're officially used in sailing, but they are used in crevasse rescue. So when you fall in a crevasse on a glacier, and you're secured to a rope and you're hanging on that rope, you can climb up the rope back to the surface again. Okay, so we're up here at the spreaders, and that is the first place which I'm doing checks. I take a close look at the conditions of the shrouds, if I can feel any abnormalities. Check the terminals for any kinds of corrosion and all the screws, which hold the key parts, upright, and if the safety pins on the shrouds are in place. Then it is time to climb further up to the mast top. Okay, made it to the top here, to the fittings of the upper shrouds. Also here I'm checking the safety pins. Eventually I spot one thing which isn't a critical part, but the spinnaker halyard block has the halyard running through it the wrong way. So I take it down to repair it before climbing the mast up again. Okay, so the next task now is changing the impeller, so the cooling water pump from the engine, but not because the impeller itself isn't working or damaged or so, but because the O-ring which seals that whole thing isn't watertight anymore. So the impeller is leaking, and I always have water in the engine room. And I have an impeller here, a new one, so I'm also gonna change the impeller because why not? So that is the water which I'm talking about, which leaked out of the impeller there, and we're gonna change that now. So let's first get off the cover here. Okay, that's gonna be fun. Okay, please don't judge me. I can't find the 7mm nut, so I have to use that thing. Okay, so made a coffee for myself, music is good, so let's finish that thing. We're making good progress. To protect the new impeller, I lubricate it with glycerine. As soon as the engine is running, it then gets lubricated with seawater. So that is absolutely amazing. While screwing this screw here back in, it just broke. The back half of it is still sticking out there, and the front half of it is somewhere below here. So I have a screw here, the lighter one, which looks like it is the same one as the original impeller screws. That is not the broken one, but one of the impeller screws. Okay, looks good. So no water dripping out of here. On my last day here in Camaret, it is now time to stock up on food on board for the next weeks of sailing. So that is the first round of groceries, about half of all the things I want to buy. So let's head for a second round. Okay, that should now be everything. At least I hope so. I have to get my laundry done. I almost forgot that I have that in a dry bag in the cockpit. So let's do that now. So it's the last night now here in Camaret, and yeah, short review, short look back. Really have to say, even if the circumstances in which I came here weren't could have been different, it was an amazing time here. Amazing, yeah, 4 months, 2 months back at home, but around 4 months in total, and really started to like this place now. The bars here, the pubs, a few people that I got to know, just the whole town here, the Bay of Camaret. Yeah, it's amazing. That is, I'm really looking forward to get going now again, especially to the Canary Islands. But yeah, there is something in sailing, you have to say goodbye to people, to places. So even though the circumstances could have been different, it was an amazing time here in Camaret. And yeah, I just got the dinghy, and now I'm paddling to the marina on the other side here in the dark, and then doing the last preparations on board to yeah, set off tomorrow. Can't believe I'm saying that, but we're gonna sail to the Canaries. I would have not gotten to know this little town without the accident. Thinking about how and if you could have avoided something will do absolutely nothing. It is important to learn lessons out of it and move on.
Inside an innocent revolution, feet move, feet move.
In the next video, we are finally leaving France and setting sail across the Bay of Biscay towards southern Europe.